So, can I summarize your question and tie it back to this set of slides? Great. You'll want to know more about how to set up a fundraising campaign, how it ties back to fundraising activities. Not from a click here, show me here, click here, but from a logical point of view and more of a how do I use it in a business context? No. You're looking at it more from some of the restrictions and applications. Gotcha. Okay, I can still use these slides, so let me walk you through that. When you set up a campaign, every campaign has a purpose, i.e., what do we want to raise the funds for? We want to buy boots for the under 12s ladies hockey team. And every campaign has an organisation to which those funds raised go. The organisation has the bank account that receives funds. So in this instance, we are raising funds for the ladies under 12s hockey to buy boots for them, with the money raised going to your local hockey club. Once you've set up the campaign, you then run fundraising activities against the campaign. The campaign is like the purpose, what we want it for. Now, to achieve that amount of money, we have to run a raffle, a tipping competition, a sweepstake, our fees, we seek sponsorship, and all of that. So you're clear on the relationship between a fundraising campaign and the fundraising activities, and you're clear that a fundraising campaign has a set purpose and that the funds raised go back to the organisation's bank account of the organisation associated with the campaign. Good. Now, earlier on, someone over here, yep, you mentioned who can set up a campaign. Anyone can set up a fundraising campaign as long as it is approved by the organisation receiving the funds. So, yes, you could go off and run a fundraising campaign to buy boots, as in this lady's example over here, but you need to get permission from the organisation to do it. It's only natural. When you set up the fundraising campaign, based on the regulator's rules that apply for the jurisdiction in which the organisation receiving funds resides, we will advise the regulator accordingly, and the organisation is advised that the campaign has been set up, and the organisation has the choice to close that campaign down, and you get advised accordingly. As before, all funds raised go back to the organisation's bank account, tagged or flagged or identified, whatever term you wish to use, to be used on that specific purpose. That appears on the organisation's statement and it appears on your statement. Now, we allow you to run up to 5 concurrent campaigns. This isn't a systems restriction, it's just a practical, logical restriction that we apply. Yep, you like that, thought you would. So, who can set up a campaign? An individual can raise funds with family and friends for any organisation, and they contact the people in their address book. Remember we talked about the address book earlier on, and on the system somewhere there's a video that tells you about the address book and the privacy around the address book and those sorts of things. So, an individual can raise funds using the people in the address book for any organisation. They need the organisation's approval, of course. As the representative of a business or a commercial entity, you too can raise funds for any organisation, and you do it using the contacts in your address book, and again, you need the normal permissions. An organisation, this is any grassroots not-for-profit, can raise funds for any other organisation as well as themselves. They use their address book and all the contacts in there, plus everybody that is connected to that organisation on the system. We check for duplicates based on the options whether they want to be advised or not. We tell them. Again, if you're an organisation, you need the approval. So for example, if you're Rotary raising money for the hospital, Rotary, you can raise the money going into Rotary's bank account, or you can raise the money going directly into the hospital's bank account. It's your choice. A group, which is a team or a group associated with an organisation, again raises funds using the address book as well as who is connected to that group, and that group can raise funds for any organisation. So a group of dads have got together and formed a group attached to the school. One particular week they may raise funds for the school. Next week they want to, as a group of dads, raise funds for Rotary. Again, you need the respective permissions, and you can tell anybody that you're raising funds by any other method that you like, as well as by the tools in the platform. Now, when you set up a fundraising campaign, there are certain checks that we put in place. The country in which you are listed has to be the same as the organisation that receives the funds. This is for a whole series of government regulatory reasons, as well as practical reasons, as well as saving on bank fees and currency conversions, and also you're more likely to support things in your own country. So, if I am in Australia and I want to raise funds for a school in Australia, great. If I am in Australia and I want to raise money for a school in India to protect you, to comply with the different rules in all of the different countries, you can't do that. If that school has a representative organisation in Australia, say you want to raise money through the church to pay for the school in India, perfect. Now, the currencies in which you transact have to be the same. And for all intents and purposes, this is not an issue, because if you're in the US, you're raising money for an American organisation, you're going to be doing, both of you are going to be operating in US dollars. Yeah, most of the time, this isn't going to be a problem. But we want to tell you this so that you know. The funds raised go back to the organisation's bank account, tagged for that specific purpose. Well done. Now, they can either go back at the time, at the end of the campaign. Sorry, let me say that again. They can go back at the end of the campaign, or they can go back on a daily basis. There's a setting on the system. Yeah, you found it. Perfect. That's the one. Do you want to show your mate next door? He's got it. Perfect. So, the funds go back to the organisation's bank account either at the campaign or on the time of the transaction. Of course, they're going to take 2 or 3 days to go through the banking system. Now, you can elect to release your funds raised for your fundraising campaigns yourself. So what I mean by that is this. The fundraising campaign that we talked about earlier on to buy boots for the ladies' hockey team was owned by you. You set the date when those funds are released. the organisation cannot change the date because it's your campaign, you're responsible for the campaign, you're raising the funds. Now, if there's a special reason to do it, we have a manual office process, and you call the office and the people will walk you through it, of course. But this fundamentally gives you the controls that you seek, because you don't want anybody coming in and saying, when can I release my funds? Yeah? I thought you'd like that one. Now, tracking of the campaigns. As the campaign owner, you receive a daily summary of contributions to a campaign. And of course, if there's no contributions on that day, obviously you don't receive one. The organisation also receives a summary for all campaigns with which it is associated with. You can query on your online statements. You've all done that earlier on? Great. Did anybody click on the progress button under campaigns? Yep, one at the back. So you can track the progress of your campaigns by the different activities that you run. You get a fully itemised statement, you get your fully itemised receipts, and as an organisation, you get a fully itemised invoice. Now, you can close your own campaigns at any time. Any activities that are scheduled, any fundraising activities that are scheduled to play out will continue to play out. If you let the system close it automatically at the end of the campaign, great. As an organisation, you can request the closure for any campaign you are associated with, and we'll talk about that mechanism shortly. Now, fundraising activities cannot be run for a closed campaign. So if you close the campaign, you can't create new fundraising activities. But as we mentioned a moment ago, those in play continue to be played out. Funds will automatically be released when the campaign is closed. And the funds from in-progress activities are automatically released when those activities are played out. So what this means is this. You may close the campaign, say, tomorrow, but because your raffle is to finish in 3 days' time, it will be played out, and any funds due then will be released at the end. Does that make sense? Or do you want me to go back over that? You're frowning a little bit? You good? Okay. So, what we want to summarise is this. If you're in the same country, in the same currency, setting up a campaign is not a problem. If you're outside of the country, running a different currency, there's some natural checks and balances in place. You own the campaign, you control the campaign. When you close the campaign, any activities currently in progress play out. All good? Thank you.